In this video, I'm sharing with you 6 rules that I use to build lean muscle. So just to get this out of the way, lean muscle isn't really a thing. Just like bulk muscle isn't a thing either. But when people say that they want to build lean muscle, typically what they mean is that they want to build muscle while staying relatively lean and keeping a lower body fat percentage. So basically what we're talking about is building muscle while limiting fat gain along the way. And that's what I'm currently doing myself right now. I'm in a lean bulking phase, aiming to build muscle and get stronger. So quickly, I'm gonna share with you 6 rules that I follow when I'm in a phase like this to build muscle while also keeping my body fat percentage decently low and staying pretty lean. And just a heads up, rule number 5 is probably the most important one. So I'll start off with a few of the obvious rules that you may already know. So rule number 1 is to strength train at least 3 to 5 times a week. Pretty self-explanatory, right? If you want to build muscle and you're not strength training, you're probably not going to build muscle. So there needs to be some form of resistance training. You can build muscle doing body weight training. You can build muscle using dumbbells or cables or machines or barbells, but training 3 to 5 times a week seems to be that sweet spot where you can see the best results. And for me, I personally prefer 5 times a week. I really enjoy going to the gym, and I'd rather have more days that I'm working out compared to resting. Rule number 2 is to log my workouts so that I can get progressively stronger. And when I say log my workouts, what I mean is keeping track of how much weight I'm using for each exercise and how many reps I was able to get for that set. So I just keep that log here right on my phone. I have an app that I use for my clients where it gives them the exercise, it tells them how many sets to do and how many reps to aim for. And right in there, I can enter in what weight I used and how many reps I was able to get. Then the next time I go to do that exercise, in the next workout or next week, it will tell me what I did last time so that I can be aware of it and I can see if I have the opportunity to maybe increase the weights a little bit or even just use the same weight and do an extra rep or 2. This is a really important one when it comes to building muscle, because if you're trying to build muscle but you're not getting any stronger at all, it's gonna be less likely that you're actually building muscle, and it's gonna be more likely that you're just going through the motions in the gym, but not actually pushing yourself out of that comfort zone. I'm not saying that you have to hit PRs and move up in the weight that you're using every single time you go into the gym. That would be unrealistic. But over a 3-month or a 6-month span, if you're not even able to get an extra rep or 2 with the same weight, or you're not able to move up 5 or 10 pounds and even some of your exercises, that would sort of be a red flag if your main goal is to build muscle. Rule number 3, when trying to build lean muscle, is something that I neglected in the past. And it's that even when I'm in a lean bulking phase trying to build muscle, to still stay active with daily steps and some cardio. What I aim for is 10,000 or more steps per day, and I aim to do between 1 and 2 set cardio sessions per week. Now for me, the cardio sessions don't have to be anything crazy or intense. They can be low to moderate intensity sessions. And what I typically do is I walk on the treadmill for 30 or 40 minutes. I put it at a 10.0 incline, and I walk at like a 3.0 speed or a 3.5 speed. And if you've never done this before, you'll definitely break a sweat. It gets your heart rate up a little bit. It's definitely challenging, but it is still a lower to moderate intensity form of cardio, which I personally like. And it's much lower impact and stressful on your joints compared to running or a lot of other options that are more high intensity. Now, the reason I make sure to keep this in my program, even when I'm trying to gain muscle and gain a little bit of weight, is because simply it's healthy to do. If you're neglecting strengthening your heart and you're not strengthening your cardiovascular system, that's a recipe for being less healthy overall. In a country where 1 out of 3 people die from heart disease related illnesses, it's kind of important to strengthen your heart, especially as you age, as you get older. Rule number 4 that I follow is to track my macros pretty diligently. So your macros are proteins, carbs, and fats. So I'm keeping track of how many of these I'm eating each day. And the reason for that is because this is the absolute best, most effective way to improve your body composition. And your body composition is the ratio of muscle mass to fat mass. So for me, I care about my physique and how I look. I wanna have as much muscle mass as I can, and I wanna have a lower amount of fat mass. So while overall calories, or the total food you're eating, is really what determines whether you lose or gain weight on the scale, how those calories are allocated across the proteins, carbs, and fats is the absolute best way to improve your muscle mass to fat mass ratio and to look your best. So for somebody who's trying to gain muscle mass but stay lean by limiting fat gain as much as possible, it's gonna be really advantageous to pay close attention to how much protein, how much carbs, and how much fats you're eating on a daily basis. Rule number 5, this one is super important, and this is what I do for a lot of my clients, which is to monitor the rate of weight gain. Because if you are building muscle and gaining new muscle tissue, naturally the scale is going to go up a little bit. And if we very closely monitor how quickly you're gaining weight or how slowly you're gaining weight, we can do our best to ensure that how quickly or slowly you're gaining is more likely that it's gonna be muscle mass compared to body fat. Because there's only so much muscle we can gain over a week or a month. It's really not a lot of weight. It's usually only a couple pounds in a month. So if we're gaining 5-10 pounds in a month, that's certainly not going to be all muscle mass, and it's going to be way more likely that we're doing a dirty bulk and we're gaining a bunch of fat along the way. Now, the truth is we can all gain muscle at different rates based on our experience with strength training, our experience with tracking macros, and following a really structured, diligent program. For example, a newbie or someone who's maybe in their first 1 or 2 years of tracking their macros and following a structured workout routine can gain muscle way quicker than I can. I've been tracking my macros diligently for 9 or 10 years, and I've been strength training for like 12 years now. So I'm more of an advanced lifter, and I don't have the same opportunity to build muscle in those first couple years, really getting it right, as someone who's new will have that opportunity. So for me, more of an advanced lifter, and this goes for more moderate experienced lifters as well, I aim to gain anywhere from 1 to 3 pounds per month in a lean bulking phase. Yeah, so that's not a lot, right? Between 1 pound, some months I'll only gain 1 pound. Other months, maybe I'll gain up to 3 pounds, but that has to be monitored very closely because it's such a small amount. What it comes out to is 1/4 pound per week on the weekly average that you're gaining, up to like 1/2 pound per week, right? So it's my recommendation that you weigh in 7 days a week. First thing in the morning after you use the bathroom, no food or water in you, around the same time every day so you can get an accurate reading. Weigh in all 7 days, and that way you can see what the weekly average weight is and you can compare it to the previous week. And like I said, what you're looking for, if you're in a similar position to me, is a gain of 1/4 pound up to 1/2 pound per week. But like I said before, if you're newer, if you're in your first 2 years doing this stuff really diligently and in a really structured way, or maybe if you're more intermediate, both of those individuals can gain muscle quicker than someone who's more advanced. So if you're newer or intermediate, you can probably gain between 2 and 4 pounds of muscle per month. It doesn't seem like much of a difference compared to what I just said for myself, but it really is. It can be almost double. So if I can gain 1 to 3 pounds of muscle per month, I may only gain 12 pounds of muscle in an entire year, whereas someone who's newer could gain double that. Someone who's newer could gain 24 pounds of muscle in the first calendar year. And for people who aren't as familiar with this physique stuff and how muscle gain and muscle loss works, if you put 24 pounds of muscle on any individual, their physique will look drastically different. It's a life-changing amount of muscle. It is an enormous amount. So this rule is so important to keep a good, firm grasp on how quickly you're gaining from week to week, because if you're gaining 1 or 2 pounds every week and you're gaining 5+ pounds a month, you're definitely not gaining just muscle mass, you're gaining body fat along with it. Rule number 6 is to limit my meals, ordering food out or going out to eat, to just 1 or 2 per week. When you're in a muscle building phase, you're generally eating more food than when you're in a cutting phase and in a calorie deficit, right? You're literally eating less food when you're in a calorie deficit. So going out to eat is harder because the meals we'll eat at a restaurant or order food out are usually higher calorie meals. But when you're in a bulking phase or a lean bulking phase like me, and your main goal is to build muscle, not to lose weight, it can be easy to go out to eat all the time because you're eating more food. Right now I'm eating 3,100 calories per day, over 3,000 calories. So it's easy to go out to eat more. But typically we're estimating the macros of those calories, of those meals that we're eating out, and they're usually not the healthiest meals. So for overall health, and for the sake of not having to estimate a ton of the meals for the macros that I'm eating, I try to still limit meals out to just 1 or 2 per week. And when I'm in a fat loss phase and I'm in a calorie deficit, I try to keep meals out to like 0 to 1 per week. So I'm even a little bit stricter with it when I'm trying to lose weight. So I've done a ton of lean bulking phases over the last decade, and the more you do, the better you get at it, the more effective you get at diligently tracking your macros, the more effective you get at getting stronger in the gym and logging your workouts and really focusing on proper technique. And the more phases you do, I've seen this firsthand with a ton of my clients over the years, the more fat loss phases you do, the more lean bulking phases you do, the better you get at this stuff and the more in control you are of your results. And it becomes almost like autopilot. If you want to build muscle, you know you can do it. You've done it multiple times. It's just a matter of giving yourself enough time to do it. Same with fat loss. If you want to lose 15 or 20 pounds to get shredded, you know you can do it. It's just a matter of giving yourself enough time to go ahead and execute your plan. So try to be patient with this stuff, especially if this is your first lean bulking phase or lean muscle building phase that you're doing. And keep in mind that these 6 rules that I shared with you are my own personal rules. I'm not saying you need to do any of these things or that you should do any of these things. I'm just sharing with you what works for me, trying to explain why I list these 6 things as important pieces of my program when I'm trying to build muscle and stay at a lower body fat percentage. So I really hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know down below in the comments or shoot me a message on Instagram or shoot me an email. And if you found this video helpful, consider subscribing to my channel because I make new videos just like this every single week. And I'll catch you on the next video, which I think you'll really like. I'm gonna leave it right up here.